Doomfist is now a tank, and these are his abilities, and this is how he plays. I'm also going to be joined by GetQuakedOn in this video, an absolutely insane Doomfist player, and I'm going to break everything down. It's going to be awesome. So sit back, relax, and get ready for this, guys. It's going to be beautiful. Doomfist has been moved from damage to tank. His base health has been increased from 250 to 450. His hand cannon, so his primary fire, damage has been reduced from 6 to 5 per pellet. Ammo regeneration rate increased from once every 0.65 seconds to 0.4 seconds. Rocket Punch, impact damage range reduced from 50 to 100 to 15 to 30 damage. So a big nerf there, but wait, this has to happen because he's now a tank. Wall slam damage has also been reduced from 50 to 150 to 20 to 40 damage. Again, another big nerf there. Maximum charge up time has been reduced from 1.4 to 1 second. And impacting a target now causes a secondary larger cone area check to grab extra targets to potentially knock them back. So what that means is when you go for a big punch, you can punch more than one person back now. Meh. Uppercut has been removed from Doomfist. He no longer has that ability. Instead, he's got a new ability called Power Block. Now, he will enter a blocking stance, reducing damage taken from the front by 90%. Blocking at least 100 damage causes Doomfist Gauntlet to become supercharged, empowering the next Rocket Punch in the following ways. Travels 50% faster and further. The area of effect blast that knocks back additional targets is twice as big, and targets impacting a wall will be stunned for an additional 1 second. An empowered fist now increases Rocket Punch damage by plus 50%. So the moral of the story here is do not shoot a blocking Doomfist. Seismic Slam. This is on an 8-second cooldown. Can be cancelled by pressing the button again. Moved from ability 2 to ability 1, so this is shift key by default. Now launches Doomfist into the air in the direction the player is aiming. Upon landing, creates a shockwave in a wide arc, dealing 50 damage and slowing enemy movement speed by 30%. No longer has different behavior between being activated in the air or on the ground, and no longer pulls enemies in. Think of this like Uppercut and old Seismic Slam have had a baby and they're now kind of one ability. It functions pretty much like Winston's Leap. It's really cool. Meteor Strike, which is still the ultimate, damage has been reduced from 15 to 200 to 15 to 100. So again, a pretty heavy nerf there on damage, but this is because Doomfist is now a tank. Impact damage at the center 1 meter radius is unchanged from 300 damage. Knockback has been removed. Now additionally slows the movement speed of all enemies hit by 50% for 2 seconds, and cast time has been reduced from 1 to 0.5 seconds. Now, as ever, with all of these figures, this is from alpha, this is from beta, they are subject to change, but the core identity of the hero, I believe, will probably stay the same. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so you've seen the abilities of this new Doomfist, this reworked tank Doomfist. Now, what we're going to do is bring in the wonderful GetQuakedOn. Hello, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm good. You?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. Introduce yourself, Quaked. Where can we find you? Where can we watch you? And what hero do you play? Which is probably quite easy to work out considering what this video is about.
Well, I'm on twitch.tv/GetQuakedOn and also YouTube GetQuakedOn. I play a lot of Doomfist and I have probably over 1,700 hours maybe on him. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for the changes.
Yeah, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to ask you about Doomfist because when we were playing in the alpha, when you were on my team, it was okay. We'd probably win the games. But when you were on the enemy team, it was yeah, you were killing me. It was not good. I just want to know how this, what have Blizzard done to Doomfist, and does he feel, does he feel good?
I mean, at first I was kind of worried. I thought they were going to kind of ruin him, and a lot of other Doom mains think that as well. But I actually think they executed it really well, and a lot of Doom mains are gonna love him. He still has that mobility,
yeah,
and he still has that damage output if you like to play him as a DPS. And I also think tank mains are gonna like him because he is a pretty good tank. Like, he can make that space happen.
So I think one of the big things with Doomfist is they changed. Well, they got rid of Uppercut. That's no longer an ability. They gave him a new ability, which was Power Block, and we'll get onto this in a second. We'll talk about all the different abilities, but the punch, to me, I mean, that's totally different, right? So, well, just tell us about the punch, because oh my god, it's just, you just don't die. It feels really weird to me when Doomfist flies in and punches me, and I'm just like, what? I sort of bounce off a wall and nothing happens. I'm like, what's going on here?
Well, with its punch now, you can't just rely on like getting kills anymore. You have to like you can use his punch to push people back or push them towards your team. And if you're gonna be going like for duels and going for kills with Doomfist, like you really have to start inputting your primary fires into his punch. And like his powered up punch is pretty good, but I still think it needs some little changes to it to make it feel a little better. Like it feels a little underwhelming.
Is he low?
So what would you do to it?
I didn't need that.
I feel like the minimum, like when you tap your punch, they don't really go as far back. Like when you knock them back, they don't go as far.
Yeah.
I feel like the minimum of the powered up punch should push them back just a little further than the normal punch.
Yeah. So like, talk to me about playing him as a tank then. So you've said there's 2 different playstyles, and that Blizzard have probably managed to keep the old sort of Doomfist, DPS, dive into the back line, get a kill, jump out sort of playstyle. But what about the tank playstyle? Like, how does this new ability, Power Block, like how have you been using that, and how are you sort of like, well, how have you been playing him?
So I've been trying to. Like I obviously don't play tank, so I've been trying to like figure that out.
So that's the big thing though, isn't it? Because all the Doomfist players won't be tank players, and now suddenly you're a tank. It's like, what the hell?
So like this is what I've been doing. So I've been slamming up into the skybox, and then I would punch over the enemy team, go in their backline, and then I would block all the damage they shoot at me because like I'm the only person in their backline, and I would get a powered up punch, and I would just push them all back towards my team, and then I would just slam to escape because the slam comes off of cooldown at that point.
Yeah.
I also tried to like slam in their backline, block the damage that they shoot at me, and then I just punch away like into their flank, and that would get me a ton of shields, and then I can re-engage with my slam and end up blocking all the damage again, and then just punch them in. Like you can just make a ton of space.
Yeah, like that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you found like when you go into the backline and you try, like you go for the old traditional like Doomfist on live, you're gonna go in, you're probably gonna get a kill straight away. You drop in, you know, everyone's seen Doomfist dropping on Iconvolt on first point after it's just been captured. He drops in, slams in, punches, gets a kill, and he's out of there, sort of thing. Are you finding that still possible, or are you having to sort of go back in again? And then in again. And is it like, do you think the trade-off is worth it? Because Doomfist is way more survivable now, isn't he? I mean, the power block just makes him quite good at taking damage. So when you get out of position, you can really, well, you can pop that, and then you don't really get punished as easy. And obviously there's less crowd control in the game, and you're a tank now, so you've got knockback resistance.
Like with DPS Doom, you would just go in and then you'd have to get out right away because you can kind of just explode, like because you just take a ton of damage or a ton of CC. But now with Tank Doom, he does less damage, but he obviously has more health and he can gain more shields, like maximum shields, and he has more survivability, so he could stay in the fight longer. But because of the reduced damage, you do have to stay in the fight longer if you want to commit for a kill.
Yeah. So there's still that balancing act of like you're still going to be sort of like right on the edge of overextending, trying to get that kill, but it just takes longer now. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So like, yeah, you could still play him as a DPS, but it's just going to be a lot more difficult and more risky.
But the game's totally different now, isn't it, with 5v5 and the fact that you've just got one tank, and it's like I know that when I first started playing on the alpha, I was like it felt like a tank had disconnected from both teams. And it's like, well, my only tank is a ball, and it's like, oh no, we've all been there on ladder. It's like, please no, or a hog or something. It's like, no, where's the main tank? Where's the front line? So because it's 5v5, it's different, and I guess it's a bit hard to sort of, I don't know, get a grasp for, I suppose, the way he's going to play properly, because of course the alpha, the skill levels are just all over the place. I mean, it was okay. Some games were balanced. Some of the scrims that were set up were balanced, I guess. But yeah. So, do you think this is a good change? Now, before you answer that, I'm just going to come in and say I think what Blizzard have managed to do here, which I don't want to say this is like a genius rework they've done, but they've moved a hero from DPS into tank. But at least this is the way I feel. They've made him sort of, he's kept his identity. He still plays like Doomfist. He still is Doomfist. He's just a little bit different. Like, do you think it's worked?
Oh yeah, I mean they executed it like extremely well. I was actually surprised. Like it's still Doomfist. Like it definitely is. He still has like that potential of causing chaos in the backline and being annoying, and all the rollouts and stuff. It's still all possible.
Yeah, because I guess that was the worry, right? If they took away Doomfist mobility, like what the hell? The hero's totally gone. And I know you like mobility.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of worried that they might take it away, but yeah, he still has it. It's still there. The only difference is like with DPS Doom, when you want to do like mobility stuff, you have to like learn the techs and master them and understand them like in and out. But with Tank Doom, you don't really have to master them too much because it's kind of just built into his kit now. So
I got naded, I'm out.
he still has that mobility. It's still very fun.
So would you say it's easier to play now in this version of Doom?
I wouldn't say easier because I do think his skill floor is definitely a lot higher
I'm
than
not gonna
DPS Doom because there's just like even though he has more survivability and less damage, the thing with DPS Doom, you would just like punch somebody, you get a kill, and then you just get out. But you can't really do that with Tank Doom because now you have if you want to get a kill, you have to commit to it and you have to duel them, and it takes some time to do it because you lack damage. And he still can also be a tank because he just makes space. So he has like a hybrid playstyle now. His skill floor definitely increased by a lot compared to DPS Doom, but his skill ceiling definitely dropped, which I'm okay with.
So like how are you like what do you feel about the difference in damage then? Because obviously DPS Doom, you know, you can delete people with a good punch. You can't do that now. So is that like is that jarring to deal with, or did you just sort of forget about it and just be like, okay, well this is the new Doom now? And because of the way he's been designed and changed into a tank and reworked, do you think it matters that he doesn't have as much damage as he had before? I mean, obviously he can't have the damage he had before because it would be totally OP. But like what I'm trying to say is like, does he still feel like Doom?
Oh yeah, for sure. The thing is like you can't be relying on like punch for kills anymore, which I'm okay with. I personally never punched for kills with DPS Doom. Like I would always slam uppercut because it was just more challenging and fun. But with Tank Doom is just there's no more punch botting. Like you gotta like commit to your duels now. Like you can't just get in and get out. Like you gotta stay in the fight, shoot your primaries, get your block up at the right time, and then escape.
Yeah, and that's the key thing, right? You need to land the primary fires, else you just don't get the damage. And like you said with the old combo,
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if you're slamming in, knocking them up in the air, and then hitting them with a primary fire and using punch to get out, yeah, that's great. But that's still kind of the way he plays, isn't it? Like he just does less damage with the primary fire now, doesn't he? Or does he do more damage? No, he does less, doesn't he?
I think the primaries do less damage, but like his abilities do. Like his abilities compared to DPS Doom, his abilities do far less damage. Yeah, they do less damage. So like you really have to land those primaries. And the thing is like because his primaries are a like shotgun, you kind of have to be up close to your enemies. You can't kind of shoot them from afar and get that damage in.
Yeah. So what about this new Seismic Slam then? Because this is it's a bit weird. It's sort of like Winston's Leap meets Uppercut. Meets Seismic Slam, because you could like you can just jump onto the high ground, can't you? It's like how have you found that ability?
I actually really like it. Like you could stop people from flanking. It's really good to combo with abilities. Like I was duoing with Leg Day and he was playing Genji, and I would slam into the backline. That deals 50 damage to like everybody. It slows them down, and even without Nano Blade, like he was just chopping them up with the blade. He was going crazy with it. Like he's pretty good with comboing with other abilities. Especially like Reaper as well. You just slow everybody down after you slam them.
What about counters to him? Because I've when I was looking through my footage from the alpha, there's quite a few games where I'm playing Orisa into your Doom and it's quite effective.
Yeah, so Orisa versus Doom is kind of like rock paper scissors. Like, you kind of go both
all
ways.
the tanks feel like this though to me. Like it feels so rock paper scissory now. The tanks. It's like if they counter pick your tank, that's it. Like you anyway, go on. I've gone off on a mad one.
One of the like his counters right now, like in the alpha, his counters were like not just like regular counters, like they were hard counters. Like they made you feel useless. Like Sombra is a really big counter to Doom now. Like in DPS Doom, he actually had counterplay to Sombra. Like you can actually play against her just fine, but now it's a lot more difficult. Diva literally hard counters Doom. Like she just denies your primary fire, and that just means you do no damage at all. Hog and Ana, they can like get you while you're blocking, so you can't use block when you're playing against them. Like his hard counters like are really bad right now, at least in the current alpha. I mean, hopefully they'll change that, but
also he is a dive tank, isn't he? So when you're playing Doom, it's almost like it's really hard to explain this to people that have not played the game, but you don't really have a front line in Overwatch 2. You can have a front line if you've got a Reinhardt, but I don't know why you'd be playing Reinhardt. But like Doom's generally, you're off in the back line doing something, harassing. You're not going 1v1 with a Hog, for example. That'd just be stupid. Or with the Diva, you're sort of ignoring them and moving around. So there still is like, it feels to me like there's still it's not as like set in stone. It's not as rock, paper, scissory with Doom, because Doom, you've got that mobility, right? It's like with Ball as well. He's got that mobility, he can get in and get out. Whereas obviously if you've got a Reinhardt against an Orisa, well, Reinhardt's never winning that. Not in the current version of... well, in fact, the only thing Reinhardt gets is a free shatter in that matchup, and that's about it. Apart from that, he just dies.
Yeah.
So what I've been hearing anyway...
Too many Rhine players.
Go on, what did you say?
Oh, I haven't seen really too many Rhine players, or even like...
No,
Sigma.
no. Oh, no. I tried to force myself playing Ryan for a couple of games. It's just so bad. It was... he just feels like an old hero. Like he's not built for this game. Doomfist is a great example of this. Like he has got tons of mobility, loads of verticality. He's a completely different hero. Then you look at the older tanks. It's like... Ooh. Sigma's an interesting one as well. I mean, that goes back to the whole debate of being able to do damage and defend at the same time. Whereas Reinhardt is you block or you swing and that's it. But I must say, if you do get Ryan into point blank range so he can do melee damage, he is pretty good. But that generally depends on having a Lucio pocket to send you in, which is not really very optimal. So anyway, what I've been hearing from you here is that Doomfist is actually in a pretty good place here. It's not like some trash rework and they've completely destroyed him. They have reduced his damage, they've kept his mobility, and they've turned him into a tank by basically giving him a block ability, haven't they? So do you think like if we were to like where would you rank him power level wise against the other tanks at the moment? I know it's really hard to do this because it's alpha that we're basing this off, and things will probably change in the beta and stuff, but how would you rank him?
I think in the alpha at the moment, I would probably put him at a C. Like he could be better if they changed some numbers on him, because he did have a lot of downtime, and like that was his biggest weakness. And because him being your only tank, like he needs that uptime, which more like the other tanks in this game have more uptime than the Doomfist in the alpha. Like he just had way too much downtime, which kind of sucked. But
a lot of that is kind of like they're just changing numbers in a spreadsheet, aren't they, for balance? But it's like the core abilities of the hero, they're probably not going to change. And do you think they've done a good job with putting him together as a tank?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like his abilities feel great. His punch feels good. The powered up punch is pretty good. The slam feels good. Even the ultimate, like all of his abilities cancel with other abilities. So like he's super fluid and extremely fun to play.
So how would you, if let's say I've just picked up the Overwatch beta or I'm about to play Overwatch 2, what tips could you give me for playing this new Doomfist?
Oh, okay. I would say the number one tip is if you're gonna engage, you need to choose, are you gonna engage with slam or punch? And if you for example, if you engage with slam, you have to use your punch to escape. You can't use it to engage again, because you're gonna just be stuck there taking a ton of damage and you're gonna die. If you engage with punch, you gotta make sure you use your slam to escape. So you always have to have at least one ability to escape. Like that's the most important thing.
Yeah, because if you go in and just blow everything, you just... I've done this. So I've got footage of Doom, which it's never going to see the light of day, but yeah, just diving in, blowing everything and standing there like, oh, well... And then I look at the enemy team and it's got like, I don't know, Striker or somebody on DPS. I'm like, yeah, I'm dead. I don't know what I'm doing here. I'm gone. Yeah. Anyway, Quake, it's been good talking to you. What I'm going to do is put a link in the video description to all of your channels, so go and check him out, guys. The Doomfist play is ridiculous. You guys have been watching his play in this video, and it's just absolutely ridiculous. The movement is crazy of this hero. But I think that the good thing is with Doomfist is he still feels like Doomfist. So if you are a DPS, well, if you're a Doomfist player, you're a DPS player, you can still kind of play him that way. It's not like suddenly you need to completely change your playstyle. So Blizzard have done a good job to begin with, but in terms of what the future holds for Doomfist, I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see what Blizzard does with balance updates, because they've always been good at balance updates, haven't they?
Yeah.
All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Doodaloo.
See ya.